guys, so you get a different view today. Get my SpongeBob blanket. I had to put it up there because the glare from the sun hits my computer. So, I grabbed the first thing that I had around. So sorry about the background today, but it's still fun, right? I'm here to talk about my weekly read. These aren't in any particular order. So I read The Deepest Cut by J.A. Templeton. I read The Deepest Cut by J.A. Templeton, and this is about a girl who loses her mother in an accident. She was in the accident with her, and she kind of feels guilty. She feels responsible for what's happened, and she cuts herself. But the interesting twist on this is her dad has moved her and her brother to Scotland, and she can see ghosts. Ever since the accident, she's been able to see ghosts. So when they move, Ghost is there. She sees him immediately. His name's Ian, or Ian. I'm not sure how people pronounce that. And he's been cursed, and so even though she kind of falls in love with him, she still wants to release him from his curse so that he can move on. And it's, so there's kind of a deeper story to it all. Her cutting and their kind of love relationship, but how she wants to help him. And there is an evil ghost, the woman that cursed him is kind of creepy, and I really enjoyed it. It was interesting twist to the story. So I gave it 5 stars. I really enjoyed the story. The next one I want to talk about is Spirits of Glory by Emily Davenport. It's about a girl named Hawkeye, and she is approached one day by a group called the Neighbors. Needed to go travel with them to visit the Spirits of Glory. Discover why all the people of the South have disappeared. And this world of Jigsaw is the name of the world. And she travels with her animals. There's a donkey, a cat, a wolf, all kinds of different animals. It's an interesting fantasy world, magic and time fractures and ghosts. It just reminds me of one of those good old bedtime stories, that you read when you're a kid and you just want to curl up with a good story before you go to bed. That's what this book reminded me of. I gave Spirits of Glory by Emily Davenport 4 stars. A very cute read. Another book I read is I don't really know if I want to call it a memoir or not, but it's a humorous book of some short stories. It's called I Used to Think That I Was Normal, But Now I Take Pills for That. It's by J.L. Black. And this is a combination of different stories that she's experienced throughout her life. Beginning with being a newlywed and her husband bring home a cat, and she's a dog person, into having children, becoming the soccer mom, going through different experiences with college and finding a job, and traffic jams. It's just humor. Some stories I could agree with more than others. Of course, I'm a cat person, so when she kind of rips on cats, I didn't quite understand that humor, but in a way I could. I ended up laughing so hard reading some of these stories. It cracked me up, and I gave it 4 stars. Highly enjoyable. The next one is called Notes to Self by Avery Sawyer. Also gave 4 stars. It was a very touching, sad story, contemporary, about 2 girls. At the beginning of the story, they fall off of a very high height, and one wakes up and one doesn't. She stays in the coma. We follow Robin, who wakes up, and she is ready to go back to school. She wants to help improve her brain and her thought process and get back into learning things. But when she ends up going back to school, the kids kind of don't connect with her anymore. she feels guilty that Emily's still in a coma in the hospital, and so Robin's having just a hard time going back to school. She had to have brain surgery, so her brain's not quite functioning the way that it used to. So she's having just a really hard time, like even remembering how to shower, her locker code, and she just doesn't quite understand why the people aren't being friends with her like they used to. And she feels really guilty that Emily is stuck in the coma. She's her best friend and she doesn't have her to lean on anymore. She's redeveloping relationships, friendships, all while trying to deal with this mental issue of after the surgery and trying to just get back into life. And it's really sad. It's a touching story. I thought it was written very well. Self by Avery Sawyer. I gave it 4 stars. Pantheons by E.J. Dabble. Although this one was, I don't know, it had a lot of stuff going on in it. There's boys that are in a gang. Isaiah runs this gang, and he's been homeless. They walk into this academy, a really posh school one day, and they end up getting invited to stay. And then eventually he gets invited to become part of this Pantheon club and finds out he's the son of Zeus. We're introduced to all of the different Greek gods and goddesses and the role that they play. So it's a very informative story, as well as including a whole bunch of action scenes. And Isaiah is a really... he starts with flaws, as a lot of characters do, and as he develops through the story, he's an honest, and he fights for what's right. So he's just not out to just always win every battle. He's out to do the right thing. When he finds out who's murdered his mom, he decides to take revenge and go after them. So it's very exciting and lots of action. So I've been trying to get into this whole graphic novel and comic book stuff. I want to try to find graphic novels with strong lead female characters. So I have been searching around. I picked up Vampire Academy by Rochelle Mead. And I have read the novel. So when I read the graphic novel, I didn't really feel like it did the novel justice. I liked the drawings, and I loved that each page was like glossy and colored, but I didn't like the way that the story was interpreted on there. I felt it was just really choppy, and I kind of just wanted more information and dialogue put into because it's such a great story. And I felt like the graphic novel really cuts a lot of the good parts out. So I ended up giving that 3 stars. I picked up another one called Fables. This is the first book. It's volume 1, which includes the first 5 issues. I gave this 5 stars. I really thought that they did a great job with the comic book feel of it, the photos, the colors, along with the story. I thought everything was a great mix. It's about all of the creatures and different people in different fairy tales and nursery rhymes. You've got the big bad wolf, you've got Cinderella, Bluebeard, the little piggies, just almost Prince Charming, Snow White. You've got all this great characters, is why they call it Fables. It's a little bit from all of those out there. And this particular one, Snow White's sister, Rose Red, has ended up disappearing, and her apartment is full of blood. So Sheriff Wolf, Mr. Wolf, and Snow White end up going on the investigation to figure out what has happened to her sister and if she's dead or not. and it brings out in a whole bunch of different characters as they're going through and questioning people on her whereabouts. So I thought that was very entertaining. I thought it was handled really well, and it leaves this such a broad open for so many more stories to be told, with such a huge amount of characters that can be brought in from different fairy tales and stories. So I thought they handled that really well. I really enjoyed it, and it had a great ending. That it was wonderful, wonderful comic. I gave that 5 stars. I also picked up Whiteout by Greg Rucka. If this comic book came before or after the movie, but it's about a woman who is an agent in Antarctica, and they find a frozen dead body, and she goes on the mystery to discover who killed this guy, and it kind of gets messed up into a whole bunch of stuff going on down there. And great mystery, great crime story. I don't know if I haven't seen the movie, so I don't know if it follows the movie. As far as just the comic book setting went, though, I did only give it 3 stars. I found that there was just way too much dialogue and conversation happening on one page, that it felt crowded to me. And some of the drawings were, not really detailed. I mean, it almost just looked like shading on some of, I don't even know how to describe it. But I felt like some of the drawings and caricatures could have been a little bit more detailed, a little less on a page. I hope that makes sense. But anyway, so it wasn't one of my favorites. I gave it 3 stars. Felt it was really cluttered. And then I picked up Shift, which is the Protector series. This is book 2 by M.R. Merrick. The first book is Exiled, and book 2 really does contain all the stuff that book 1 does. He keeps the pace going, the characters, really fantastic characters, really great dialogue, things are happening, and the story, the flow and the continuation of the story is fantastic. You really don't want to put these books down. I really enjoyed the elements, just these really great intense fighting scenes. You've got this whole interaction with family going on there. Who's bad? Are you gonna join my side? Immortality. And if you guys read Exiled, you definitely want to continue this series. Book 2 is fantastic, and I did give it 5 stars. I love these stories. I think they're awesome. So, as for what I'm reading now, I'm halfway through Tempest by Julie Cross. I'm listening to the audiobook. I'm listening to the audiobook of Tempest by Julie Cross, and it just barely started getting interesting. I'm about on disc 5, and I don't know if that's about halfway through the novel or a little bit towards the halfway point. And it just started getting interesting, and I sure hope that just more stuff happens and that it keeps on the same path, or I'll be disappointed in the ending. So I just really hope that that continues to keep up. I'm also listening to the audiobook of Dearly Departed by Leah Habel. This one so far is really interesting. Great world building. It's got a combination of like futuristic stuff as well as Victorian age kind of etiquette going on. It's a crazy mixture of stuff, and zombies. You gotta love the zombies. And I am finishing up Serpent Sea by Martha Wells. It's a crazy, amazing world where you've got the air creatures, you've got the land creatures, you've got water creatures, and there's really dangerous stuff happening, and dangerous creatures, and I just love this world building that she's put together, and the really complex different characters. That's all I'm gonna say for this week. So thanks for watching, and SpongeBob says hi. Talk to you later. Bye, guys.